Can you believe the history behind sports' favorite mascot? Now, if you are a sports fan, you are more than aware that many teams have their own mascot. Whether it's a lion, cowboy, tiger, or hawk, typically it's some sort of animal or novelty. But there is one sports mascot that has truly confused fans for decades. Every once in a while, you get a true head scratcher. That mascot is the Phillie Phanatic. The green, fluffy mascot has been making Phillies fans and baseball fans laugh for decades. The mascot has interacted with players, fans, executives, and politicians. Each and every year during the baseball season, the Phanatic makes us laugh. Let's take a deep dive in the history of this mascot that's transcended sports. The concept of the Phillie Phanatic came into existence after the 1976 baseball season. During the offseason, the Phillies team began looking into ways to drum up more business for families coming to Veterans Stadium. The Phillies had just come off an incredible year, making the postseason for the first time in 20 years. The team was looking better than ever, and they had strong potential to finish the 70s and go into the 80s with a bang. Paired with a relatively new stadium, the Phillies business team knew that they had to bring ways to get families into the ballpark, as they were well aware that families spend more money at the ballpark than young single fans. This is when the marketing director, Dennis Lehman, and promotions director, Frank Sullivan, came up with an idea for a mascot. Not just any mascot, though. This one had to embody Philadelphia. It had to be fun and unique. The team would use the Padres' San Diego Chicken as an example they wanted to follow. Prior to this moment, the team did have their own mascots. Their names were Philadelphia Phil and Philadelphia Phillies, aka brother and sister twins, Phil and Phyllis. They would wear 18th century clothing, and they weren't really a unique concept of a mascot. Fans really didn't fall in love with these two mascots. Even though they were used in the team logo from 1976 to 1978, and they were even part of the Home Run Spectacular, even though these characters were fun, they really didn't capture the attention of families going to Phillies games. With the support of ownership, it was decided to move away from Phil and Phyllis and to look for a new mascot. This is when they had the idea to reach out to Harrison Erickson of New York. Bonnie Erickson had ties with the Jim Henson Muppet Studios. Bonnie was famously one of the lead designers on Miss Piggy and had incredible talent. What she created would completely change the Phillies, baseball, and sports forever. She developed a large, furry, bright green, flightless bird mascot. The name, the Phillie Phanatic. A name that was chosen to represent the passion and fanatical fans of the city of Philadelphia. At the time of the creation, the Phanatic would cost $5,200 for the costume and copyright of the character. Or the Phillies could just purchase the costume for $3,900. Not thinking about the future, the team would allow Harrison Erickson to retain the copyright, which 5 years later, Bill Giles would have to purchase it for $250,000. He often stated that one of his biggest mistakes he ever made as owner of the Phillies was not purchasing the rights to the Phanatic at the beginning. The Phillie Phanatic would make his debut on April 25th, 1978 at Veterans Stadium. The Phillies would be playing the Chicago Cubs. Excitement was already building among families for the character as the Phanatic was announced on a local kids show called Captain Noah and His Magical Ark when Tim McCarver, a Phillies player, came onto the show for promotional reasons. The character would be portrayed by David Raymond. Raymond started his career at the Phillies in 1976 as a summer intern. He would then be asked to portray the mascot in 1978, which he would do until 1993. He was the one who began the creation of what the Phanatic was. He was the one who developed the concept of the Phanatic and brought about some of the unique personality aspects of the Phanatic. He was the one who brought about the concept of a mascot interacting with the opposing players, riling up the teams, and also high-fiving the Phillies players. After his time was done, Tom Burgoyne would take over. Both actors used the same style when talking about the character. to keep the illusion that the Phanatic was alive. Burgoyne and Raymond both called themselves best friends of the Phanatic, and Tom Burgoyne even says to this day he's been the best friend of the Phanatic since 1993. This is a very similar concept that many famous theme parks like Walt Disney World and Universal Studios use when talking about their characters, to keep the illusion alive for children. In 2019, the Phanatic went through a large appearance change. The Phanatic was changed to have lighter green fur, arm scales, star eyelids, blue feathers, and a few other adjustments. This was because the Phillies were in a lawsuit with the creators of the Phanatic, who in their contract allowed them to renegotiate the 1984 licensing agreement, according to copyright law. In response, the Phillies thought they could redesign the character and nobody would care. However, many fans wanted the old Phanatic back. And because of this, the Phillies would regain control of the original copyrights after the 2022 season, after settling with the original creators. The Phanatic has become more than just a mascot for the Phillies. The big furry green creature has become part of the culture in the city of Philadelphia and extends far beyond a field. The Phanatic has consistently been named the top mascot in sports and has been dubbed the favorite mascot in sports. The creature's antics of driving around an ATV, shooting out hot dogs, messing with opposing players and fans, and creating relationships with Phillies players is what has captivated audiences for years. Whether you're a Phillies fan or not, you have to admit there is something about going to a game at Citizens Bank Park and seeing the Phillie Phanatic. Besides being an incredible asset, the Phanatic has had an incredible impact off the field. David Raymond was inducted in the Mascot Hall of Fame in 2005. Their character has been utilized in merchandising and marketing for decades for the Phillies. Burgoyne has written several children's books. They've worked with families, communities, and charities to raise money and to help others as well. The Phanatic's more than just a mascot. He is the city of Philadelphia. Thank you so much for watching. Please let us know in the comments below if you love the Phillie Phanatic and what your favorite mascot is in sports. We appreciate all of you. Believable truths.